The Rokinon 85mm f1.4 Aspherical comes from the South Korean manufacturer responsible for producing and designing the lens sold under the Samyang, Bauer, Opteka, Vivitar and Pro Optics brands, all with the same optical formulas, features and somewhat usability. Here tested for Canon's EF mount with an internal focus and clicked aperture, meant for photography, it got on my kit merely as a low-cost alternative to Canon's EF 85mm, both f1.2 and f1.8 USM, but it didn't find a place in my photography. At 78 by 74 cm or 540 grams, the first thing we notice on the Rokinon 85 f1.4 is the all-manual operation, making it smaller than other primes that sports motors for both aperture and focus. This also makes this Rokinon especially fragile, and there's little room for impacts that could damage the internal optics. So I recommend some TLC when working with this lens, and it's not a workhorse Pro 2 to leave in your backpack. On the outside, the usability is easy and straightforward, with a manual focusing ring at the center barrel, rubberized for greater grip, and it's incredibly smooth for higher precision. At the rear, the manual aperture ring sets the exposure f-stops, with full clicks from f1.4 to f22, and the internal focus goes up to a minimum of a meter, longer than most 85 primes. Rokinon also offers a cine version with a clickless aperture, meant for smoothly controlling the depth of field while shooting video, but that's not the one shown here. As both the aperture and the focusing rings are mechanical, coupled to the lens internals, there is no need for distance windows as the focusing ring sports printed marking in feet and in meters. But unfortunately, Rokinon also doesn't provide the lens mount with an electronic contact, making it difficult to use with auto-exposure modes, nor supplying the camera with EXIF data. Finally, at the front, the Rokinon 85 accepts 72mm filters, fixed about 1 cm over the front lens element, making it for some flaring issues and loss of contrast. And at the rear, the metal mount feels secure with the camera for a smooth operation, and it doesn't sport any sort of weather resistance. It's all very raw and mechanical for an all-manual lens, actually feeling somewhat premium for the $300 price tag. With a 9 elements in 7 groups optical formula, sporting one aspherical lens to deal with lateral chromatic aberration, and what Rokinon sells as UMC, ultra multi-coating, what the 85mm f1.4 delivers optically is fair. A good bang for your buck, especially on the full frame format. Put it simply, no first parties competes in this segment. Both Canon, Nikon, Sony and Leica offers much more expensive 85mm primes, with aperture varying from f1.2 to f1.8, but these ask for at least $150 more, with visible gains in sharpness and usability. But this low-cost Rokinon can be a fun lens to experiment with, and it's difficult to complain about its optical shortcomings. Here tested with the Canon Eos M, the 125mm equivalency can be impressive. Wide open, we do see some softness when pixel peeping the files on the computer screen, and this lens displays the limits of what a low-cost production can deliver. No, it's not best in class. Stopping down does enhance sharpness for large format prints, and it shows more details than any zoom, a statement always reserved for prime lenses. The double Gauss optical formula also makes a good deal for correcting chromatic aberrations, and the main complaints go to the flaring resistance, cumbersome when positioning a strong light source within the edges of the frame. But it's the bokeh quality that actually feels smooth and colorful, delivered by the true double Gauss formula, that makes the icing on the cake, and the best use of this low-cost 85. It's not ultra sharp, but a creative tool to work under short depths of field. So in reality, this makes for an easy to recommend lens, provided that you work within its limitations. It's a large aperture lens meant for experimentation, and the creative results can impress. It can be seen as a specialty tool, meant for the creative photographer, and nice shooting.